Well, hello there, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to touch a little bit more on comparing the law of attraction and law of assumption, because I actually started getting into the law of assumption, and at first I was going to take this channel step by step into my journey and how I got into the law of attraction and how I was able to manifest a lot through law of attraction. But then I recently discovered law of assumption, which is honestly a much easier kind of like catapulting you to the end of what law of attraction makes you go through. Because for my journey in law of attraction, it has always been kind of like a lecture, and then I have homework afterwards that I have to do. You know, law of attraction comes across like you have to do all these things in order to manifest. And they also, law of attraction, I definitely see where they bring out positive toxicity, where it's always, ignore the bad, just focus on positive, put yourself in a positive momentum. But they do not tell you how to do that when you have ADHD or you have mental issues or mental illnesses. Because in law of attraction, they tell you persist but don't obsess. And I don't know about you guys, but at least for me, being an ADHDer, I cannot persist something without obsessing over it. If I focus on something, it becomes my new obsession. And that made trying to manifest through the law of attraction so much harder for me, because I was like, damn, how do I know what is the right amount of persisting but not obsessing to the point where I'm resisting things to come to me? And that's another thing. Law of attraction says persist, or you resist what you persist, or what you persist you resist, something like that. But law of assumption is it tells you to focus, and persisting is actually getting you what you want. I realize that there's some similarities between the two, but law of attraction is such a much harder, difficult, more complex road to go down. And I've been realizing lately that it definitely can help you. I won't deny that. I've manifested, like I said, a lot through law of attraction, but it still gives you limiting beliefs. It still feeds into your limiting beliefs, and it makes it much harder to, step into your power when you feel like you have to do all of, like I said, all this homework. They tell you to write out your desires, 50 times for 5 days, and practically they're always telling you to write. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, I like to just talk. I like to say things. I like to put it into the universe. I'm not one that really likes to sit back and write a whole bunch. And so, yeah, law of attraction just feels like it's the much tougher road. And that's why I want to veer this channel into law of assumption. But yes, law of assumption, actually, we run off of assumptions all the time when you really think about it. If you assume that shit's gonna go bad for you, guess what? You just ask the universe to set your week up for failure and misery and a whole lot of obstacle bullshit that you gotta get through now. But if you start assuming the best, like, no, you know what? This can work for me. This will go my way, or somehow, some way, things are going to work out for me, because things are always working out in your favor, whether you are putting negative into the universe or positive into the universe. But I also started diving into the ego and creating an alter ego to help, because the ego definitely keeps us in this comfort zone, because our ego's only job is to keep us alive. So obviously anything that's in the unknown, which is everything, senses us danger. And so we are constantly being kept in this small little box in our mind and in our world that is like, oh, please, keep it realistic, and, don't veer out of reality or whatever. That is the biggest limiting belief ever. You know, do not let people say, it happens all the time, it's happened to me and I see it everywhere, where people try to talk fear into your plans by saying, oh, be more realistic when you talk about your dreams or your goals or your passions. No, don't be realistic. Imagine, you know, go as far as you fucking want with your imagination and your creativity, because you are able to create whatever it is you want. um, and something that, you know, brought so much reassurance to me in that area is at some point people thought that airplanes weren't going to exist, that cars weren't going to exist. You know, people scolded the Warner Brothers and was like, oh, please be realistic. We're never going to be able to fly. Look at us now. Hell, Elon Musk, I think, created the first flying car. You know, never, ever, 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 ever let anybody talk down on your plans or start to make you doubt yourself or doubt your plans. That's why so many of us live comfortable but miserable lives. It's time to get out of the comfort zone, because to be honest, comfort doesn't even really exist. I mean, it does, but not in the form that we make it, like our comfort zones. To be honest, we make anything a comfort zone. Our body naturally adapts to wherever we put ourselves, and we create comfort zones out of our atmosphere. So it's kind of like, you know, take the shot, get out of your comfort zone, and get into another one that actually feels comfortable. But yes, back to what I was saying about egos and alter egos. Now, how I see it is our ego is our human self, and our alter ego is our higher self. Of course, your ego, like I said, is going to do everything it can to keep you where you're at. And your alter ego wants to get you to where it knows it can go. And for me, what I do is I humor my ego. Because it's like, you know, whenever I get limiting beliefs or doubts when I want to do something, but, you know, that nagging voice in my head starts with, oh, bitch, be realistic. Or that's not going to happen for you, or whatever. I always just, you know, silly little human self, silly little human mind, you don't know your capabilities yet. That's okay. And just constantly reaffirming and reassuring, no, I can have that. That is for me, because repetition is what it's going to take. Pretty much all it takes is persistence, a little bit of belief and focus, and you can manifest all you want. Because also, a lot of people, there's a lot of controversy in the world of law of assumption, and people are saying you do have to believe, you don't have to believe. You only have to believe that it can happen. You just have to believe that at some, you know, somehow, some way, it can come to you. It is possible for it to be in your lives, or for you to be living it. That's pretty much all it takes, is just the belief that it's there and it can happen. And then start focusing on, you know, little steps that you can take to reassure that part of you every day. And also little things that you can do to start stepping into your power. Like for me, I'm extremely talented artistic wise, and I have always wanted to put my art on clothing and stuff like that. Eventually I will make merch for here, but I always stop myself because I'm like, oh, who's going to want to see my art? No one's going to buy my stuff. Again, that's what the ego tries to tell you, because it doesn't know success. It doesn't know, you know, living in its full power, because we are constantly belittling ourselves. Anyways, I feel like I kind of got off track there. But it's okay. That's what these videos are all about. Again, to feel like it's a conversation. That's why I do veer off a lot into different topics, but that's okay, because it all matters. It all conjoins, it all intertwines, and it all comes together to make a whole lot of sense in the end. But anyways, yes, that's what I wanted to touch on today, is just humoring your ego and creating an alter ego that overpowers your ego and makes it clear to yourself, this is your life and you are allowed to have everything that you want. You are a goddess or a god, and it's time that we start, you know, using our powers to the fullest. Because I see it as, Imagine the Harry Potter movies, and it was literally him going throughout the movie and not using his powers once, or not using his wand once. You've been like, wow, that was a waste. That's literally how our higher selves see us. Is like, you have all this fucking power. What are you doing with it? Anyway, um, thank you again for tuning in, and leave your comments and subscribe to come back for more. Thank you for following along my journey and creating your own.